Hello and welcome to Women of Influence podcast. Hi, I'm Jaylyn with the J Group Real Estate Team.
The Great American Speak Off.
One of my favorites.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to yet another Women of Influence podcast. Welcome, everyone. So excited today to have with us Stephanie Richter. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here with you. Thanks for having me, and hello to everyone.
Yes, my pleasure. So we kind of met in a roundabout way. You and my husband, Kelly Shaw, were on a webinar together or some sort of program. I think was it 100X or was it something else? Can you remind me?
It's actually something else. I am very familiar with Pedro and 100X though, but so I actually hosted a summit called The Top Secrets to Success for Kingdom Entrepreneurs, and I was honored to have Kelly on there.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So what are some of the top secrets to success?
Great question.
Or can you share?
So I can touch on a few of them. We did have more than 20 experts sharing on that very topic. So as not to take up our entire time together with that topic, I'll cut to the chase for you. So basically, the top secrets to success came to be partly because I had worked for a Fortune 500 company back in my 20s for several years. And through working with different executives, business owners, physicians, various individuals like that, as well as then going on and doing some consulting work, I noticed that a lot of those people who would be classified more as like the top 1% as far as income wise, success is often equated, at least in the US, it's often equated with financial success,
Right.
Which isn't always true, but that's a whole other topic we can get into. But I noticed certain patterns in how they thought differently. And so that's also why I gathered together some different experts to really dive deeper into that and to look at what are those different components. I primarily work with entrepreneurs. And so there's certain things that we have to do and do well in order to be successful. So one of those, you guys have probably heard a lot about mindset. It seems like it's become more and more of a buzzword in the last couple of years. So that's one of the areas that I help people with. So really looking, okay, how are you viewing, for instance, opportunities in front of you? Are you more focused on the challenge or are you more focused on the opportunity? So that's one example of one of those top secrets, is really cultivating that mindset to focus in on where are the opportunities and what can I create from this, whatever it is that we're handed. We also talk a lot about, like, from a business, foundational elements of like building your email list, always having leads coming in, networking, those types of things are all important, especially in your space in real estate. Always growing that network and who you're surrounding yourself with as well. Since the saying goes, and I forget who originally said it, forgive me for that, but you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And so for you get to go home. Yeah, so for you get to go home and hang out with Kelly Shaw all the time, and he's a phenomenal man.
Yes,
and I'm sure there's an amazing group of people you've surrounded yourself with. So those are a few of the key elements. I could go on and on, but that's just to touch on the surface of that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I know I kind of like started right out of the gate. I'm like, okay, tell us your secrets. But you are a transformation coach, and you truly help people to uncover those limiting beliefs to be able to achieve that success that they want, not only financially, but success in other areas of their lives. So what are some of the biggest self-limiting beliefs that you've heard from some of your clients that you've helped them with?
I love that question. So some of it depends with where you're at in your business development process as well. So as we move higher up into people who are already making six figures or multiple six figures, the things that we tend to notice are thoughts like, well, what will they think or what will they say? For those who are also Christians, not to pick, I'm a Christian also, but not to pick on us as a group, but we often think, oh gosh, what will they say about me at church if I buy that house or that car? Right? And so
Right.
we will stop ourselves from either bringing in that level of revenue or making those purchases that might show outward, outward expressions of wealth. We'll also think about like, oh gosh, will I lose friends? Will I be alone? Will people start seeing me differently and treating me differently? And I'm going to end up feeling isolated. Or oftentimes there's also those thoughts of, oh gosh, what do they want? Are they just coming around me because they want something? They want money, they want a donation, they want whatever. And so sometimes relationships get really weird the higher up you go. And so it's, as they say, it's very lonely at the top, right? So sometimes we'll run into things like that, or where people are self-sabotaging to not go into a higher income bracket, or worrying about what will the tax burden be if I make more money. Is it worth it? Is it worth hiring more employees or not? Those types of things come up. Again, when your six figures are over. Before you hit the six-figure mark, it's actually different. And so depending who I'm talking with, right, it might be like, well, can I really charge that? Am I really worth it?
Right.
It doesn't happen so much in real estate, but in other areas it does. When you're trying to figure out your pricing, because at least with real estate, the market determines the price for the most part and the demand and all that. But we look at whether it's a business coach or some other type of a coach. I work with all different types of coaches and consultants in various industries. But when it comes to pricing ourselves, that seems to be one of the biggest hangups. How do I adequately place a number on my price or my value, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of those insecurities come up of like, am I really worth it? Can I really do this? There's different thoughts like that.
Right. Absolutely. That is such good, like so many good points that you bring up. And I know, touching on that same subject, I know a lot of people also probably have, imposter syndrome. Like you were talking about, like, who am I to charge, $397 for this course or whatever it is that they're charging? They have that limiting belief that they're, nobody's going to pay that, or nobody's going to come to my thing. Right. And so like, what's one of the top recommendations or suggestions that you would give to that person that maybe has that imposter syndrome?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. So what I've found to be super helpful, and this, by the way, actually comes from neuroscience studies that have been done. So there's a couple different ways to approach that to really get kind of to the root of the problem there, what's really going on, what's causing you to feel like an imposter. And so number one would be to approach it from a logical standpoint. And basically like write out a sort of resume. It's not exactly like a resume, like I'm going to apply to a job, but hey, here's all the amazing achievements that I've had. Here's where I've shown up and I've proven what I can do. So different things like that, or different instances where you've really added tremendous value. You've gotten testimonials from people, or even just random people coming up to you and saying, hey, thank you so much. That thing that you shared really impacted me in this way, and here's what I've been able to do since. And it often just blows your mind what people will tell you and how we're really impacting people every single day without even really fully being aware of it. So that's one approach, is going from that logical approach. And the second is actually to approach it from an emotional standpoint. So this starts shifting things around and activating your limbic system in your brain. And so a way to do that is to think about, like, what are those not so great thoughts that you have about yourself of, well, I can't really do that, or, who am I to think that I can do that? Those types of questions. And then imagine yourself putting those same thoughts on someone that you love dearly, right? So for Jalen, that'd be her husband, Kelly. Or for some of you, maybe it's a child or a close friend or a sibling or a parent. And having them in front of you, hypothetically speaking, and saying to them, what are you thinking? Get back down here. You can't do that. you should be ashamed of yourself. You can't charge those prices. Different things like that. But like, as we start saying it, number one, lots of people can't actually do it. So I'd encourage you to go ahead and push through and follow through with doing it when no one's around. This is all just like pretending the person's in front of you. But number two, we start realizing like how awful some of those thoughts actually are that go through, that we're self-judging ourselves. And like, we'll start catching our words in our own throat and realizing like, no, that's not actually true. I've been believing it's true, but it's not. And so the power of that is it starts to actually uproot that and release it from you, so you can move forward and align your thoughts with what is actually true, that you're perfectly and wonderfully made, things like that. So
that is wonderful. Thank you. As you were going through that exercise, I was imagining myself going through it with my husband, and I had this visceral reaction like, oh, that doesn't feel good. I don't like that. I'm like, no, that's icky. That's just wrong. So that's really great advice. That's a great thing that people can try when they're having these, self-limiting beliefs. And, back to what you were saying earlier about, also looking back to see how far you've actually come. Don't just keep focusing on, oh, I haven't done this yet, or I haven't done that yet. Like, look what you have accomplished, and remember to give yourself a pat on the back, because you deserve it. You are worthy. And yeah, that is so good. Such good advice. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to play off of a point that you brought up there, it's usually those of us who are high achievers who tend to not slow down and acknowledge how much we've accomplished.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My husband's really good at reminding me, like, babe, look how far you've come. Because I'm like, I'm probably my own worst enemy. I almost said it wrong. When it comes to like self-sabotaging myself and my self-limiting beliefs. Still working on that. Maybe I should hire you as my coach.
We are all growing all the time. It's just from
Yes.
one level to the next.
Absolutely. So, Stephanie, how does one get a hold of you? I have a little banner here for your website. Hopefully, I've got it spelled correctly here.
Yep, that is correct. Yes, StephanieRichter.com.
Stephanie Richter. So, what's next on the horizon? What's coming up for you, Stephanie?
Great question. Yeah. So, it's actually really interesting. Just in the last 30 days, I felt like things are kind of shifting and getting kind of reset and realigned again. And so some things feel like they've been, like, I don't have a better word right now than shifting for it, to be honest. But so some things I've pressed pause on, and other things I'm developing and building as well here. So I'm going to be holding a workshop probably in about roughly 30 days. I need to nail down the exact date for that, to teach people about some of these different principles of really building belief for yourself that's going to actually move the needle in your business. And by the way, when you work on all this, it also impacts not only your business, but your relationships and everything that you're doing, your health, your wellness, all those different areas get impacted too. So I will be doing a workshop soonish. Again, dates to be determined. But in the meantime, though, if people wanted to start getting some traction now with some of the things that we're talking about, I do have an audio that you guys are welcome to download for free. And so I'll put up the URL for that here when we share this on social media, etc. But we'll put it at stephanierichter.com/Jaylin.
Oh,
And you guys can go and you can just download that audio and just start listening to that to help create new neural pathways towards success and towards what you really want, however you define success for you, because it really is different for each of us. So that's one quick thing you guys can take and run with now. So
that sounds fabulous. I love it. I can't wait to like click on the link and get the download and start listening and start rewiring those neural pathways in my head.
absolutely.
And get things going. So, Stephanie, what would be one thing that you would leave our audience with today? Like one positive thing, word of encouragement.
Yeah. So what comes to mind is believe in yourself. To me, that seems to be the biggest recurring challenge that so many people have. doubting themselves, doubting their abilities, doubting they can get to that next level, however you define that. So do whatever you can, invest in coaches to support you, have a champion like your spouse or best friend, someone around you to help you keep going and to build you up and build up that belief in yourself if you're not quite there yet. It does take time. And by the way, you're with more than 90% of the population. If you sometimes have difficulty in this area, you're not alone. That's one of the biggest lies. You're alone. Something wrong with you. You can't do this. That destroys that self-belief. So believe in yourself and do whatever you can to build up that belief and take those steps forward towards what you really want.
That is such great advice. And I know that many of us could use that help in believing themselves and, reaching out to our tribe and getting that reinforcement that we so desperately need. We are meant to be in community, right? As kingdom entrepreneurs, as, sisters in Christ, we need those other people to help support us and, just keep things flowing, keep things happy, keeping the spirit, I guess, so to speak.
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
Yeah, me too. Well, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you, Stephanie, and I look forward to listening to your audios really, really shortly here. And then please do keep us updated as to when your workshop will be coming out. I would absolutely love to attend.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me here. It's been fun to be with you, Jalen. Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah. Thank you.